Yes, it looks like Zoom has a new update, so it might take me just a second to make sure I get this organized. There we go. Everybody see okay? Perfect. Okay. Well, I think we'll be getting started and hopefully more people will join us. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. And thank you for coming to the Colorado FBLA November monthly membership meeting on community applications. If you don't know me, my name is Yalen Chavez, and I'm serving as your state president this year. We're really excited to see you all here tonight. And we're ready to get started, to get learning, get networking. So let's just get started with it. The November monthly membership meeting is now called to order. So let's start the evening off with a nice and exciting icebreaker.
Hey guys, so we're gonna start off with an icebreaker today. The game is going to be called Guess Who's Who, as in guess which state officer is from which district. If you guys need any help, you guys can use coloradofbla.org/FBLA state officer team for hints. And feel free to just shout it out or put it down in the comments. And we're gonna start off first with Lauren Anderson. Which district is Lauren from? No,
This might
just
be a little,
strict.
this might be a little harder because Lauren's an
Yeah.
executive officer.
Do I
You
give
guys
a
could also
hint?
ask Lauren for hints. Yeah.
Okay.
Give a hint, Lauren.
Anyone have any questions? I can try and narrow it down.
Is it under 10?
Yes.
I think it's 6.
Yep, it's 6.
It is 6.
I'm in the same district as Josie.
Okay, moving forward, you guys can do the same with Isabella. Which district is she from?
I'll give you guys a hint.
We
Gabe is from the same district as me.
Cheese.
and 7.
You guys can also type into the chat.
Yes. Has anyone guessed it yet? Nope, not yet. Yes, Zachary got it. She is from District 10. Perfect. Now moving on to our next one, Vivian. Yep, got it already. Good job to Sahidi. She got it first. And then our last one, this one might be a little tricky. Which one is Shreya from? Because she is also an exec. Do you want to give any hints, Shreya?
I think someone did get it.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Perfect. Sounds great. Well, thank you guys for playing that game with us. Very
It was
fun.
District 5, by the way, same as Vivian.
Okay, thanks Tony for that icebreaker. So now we're gonna go into our topic for tonight on community applications. So first we're gonna talk about service projects, but especially what's the benefit of them. So first of all, they do build a lot of positive reputation in the community because you're connecting with businesses and people in the community. Furthermore, it strengthens the local economy and community by forming relationships and donating your time or money to a good cause, thus bolstering the economy. It also demonstrates corporate social responsibility because your time in the community is super, super important. Lastly, all of these things help build relationships in the community and create networking opportunities with companies and those in the neighborhood.
Now, through FBLA, we tend to always use the idea of building community-minded business leaders, but what does that really mean when it comes to being a future business leader? Well, through community service, we encourage leadership in our chapter because this enforces, taking initiative, problem solving, which relates to that idea of developing real world skills, being able to take that action on your own through impacting people, that's exactly something that you're going to be needing to use in honestly any job that you take on. Additionally, FBLA focuses on the ideas of service, education, and progress. So that all aligns with that concept. And just that idea of, again, having that positive impact on your community. And then additionally, this enhances chapter recognition. Through FBLA, we love, highlighting chapters and the work that we do. So through Service Sundays, Peak Awards, and even like chapters, members, BAAs as well. That's exactly how we can highlight what members are doing. And then also it encourages members to join, and it really helps with recruitment as you guys can showcase the fact that it's not just about competition, but it's also like, doing something outside in your community or in your school to create a good reputation. And then lastly, community service projects ensure that, members are partaking in civic engagement. This creates an idea of a purpose and fulfillment, and especially on top of the idea of figuring out what you want to do going forward into college and as your career, this can help you discover and explore the things that make you feel fulfilled. And again, by contributing to your chapter and the community around you.
Awesome. And one of our major service partners with National FBLA and the state level of FBLA is the Alzheimer's Association. So one way that many districts can partner with these organizations are by forming teams and raising funds for walks across the country. And ultimately, these projects help fund research for those affected by Alzheimer's. And these funds can support the Alzheimer's Association's research, advocacy, and support programs. And FBLA chapters can also participate virtually through the Walk to Anaheim game board found on the national website. And the game includes activities that your chapter can do, like printing a poster, downloading a registration form, and even recruiting team members to raise funds. And I don't know the most information about this, so we'll hear from Gabe tonight, the national treasurer, for how each of our chapters can get more involved with the Alzheimer's Association.
So next we have Lead for Change, which is instrumental in teaching students how to lead and serve their community. Lead for Change encourages members to develop leadership through community service, and members can get involved by identifying community needs, planning and executing service projects, reflecting on their impact, and sharing their results. Participation helps students enhance their leadership abilities while making a positive difference in their community. Advisors first need to sign their classes up for Lead for Change, and after that, students can choose to start it on their own.
The Colorado Relief Fund was established in 2008 in response to natural disasters around the state. Individual chapters or members can apply to receive funds from the Colorado Relief Fund. Last year, we supported the Yuma FBLA chapter after their community was hit with a severe storm that caused devastating damage. Chapters can donate to the Colorado Relief Fund at any time, and there are a variety of ways to earn funds and raise this money within your own chapters. You can also always get very creative with these kinds of ways that you raise money as well. And we will also be doing fundraising at this year's SLC, and we hope that you all participate.
Okay, so now we're going to talk straight about the fundraising toolkit. So the Student Officer team has created a fundraising toolkit, and in fact, I was kind of part of this POW, and this allows any chapters who want to raise funds to go along this journey. And I know it's definitely very difficult if you're starting off from like either rural schools or urban schools, but in this toolkit, it has a few step-by-step plans with some styles of each, and it's a really great way to help big or small chapters, no matter where you're located from.
Another way chapters can get involved is by the service season of the Champion Chapter Program, which is run at the National FBLA level. This program actually starts in 3 days on November 7th and runs until January 8th. Basically, what this means is your chapter will participate in service-oriented activities and then work to submit them for points, Service Sunday recognition, and more. I know personally from experience that it's a lot of fun to have a project that finds a need or does a drive in the community. and just really gives back while also benefiting our chapter and getting us some recognition.
Awesome. Another great way to help the community is to participate in the next finance challenge from November 11th to November 25th. Your chapter can make a post about your fundraisers for your chapter or another organization in the community to get points toward the Peak Awards. Make sure to tag Colorado FBLA to be recognized.
So next up, we have Service Sunday, which is an ongoing social media feature where we highlight service projects that Colorado FBLA chapters have done. So if you're looking for a community service project, like an idea, make sure to check it out. We post every other Sunday, I believe. And then some examples of some service Sundays we've actually posted before was one from Pikes Peak Online School / Colorado Preparatory Academy, and they helped clean a local park and creek and emphasize what we at FBLA are all about.
And then another service project that we had submitted was from Grand Junction High School. And so they actually volunteered at their local walk for Alzheimer's and were able to raise $100 per student, which is incredible. But ultimately, through Service Sunday, we would love to hear about your guys' chapter projects. So make sure you guys are submitting them in order to get recognized for all your hard work on the Colorado State FBLA Instagram. The link can also be found at coloradofbla.org and in our link tree on Instagram.
Another great way for you to get recognition for all the service projects that you do is through the Business Achievement Awards capstone level. So capstone projects are a great way to get involved with your community and combine business knowledge with a community service initiative. So this project is done individually and requires you to design, complete, and reflect on a project that solves a real-world problem. So this gives students the opportunity to get involved with their community and take initiative to help others. I personally have not completed the capstone project, but I know some other state officers have, if any of you would like to share your experiences.
Yeah, so I would love to kick us off. The BAA capstone is basically finding this issue, like I was talking about a minute ago, a need in the community, and really just finding a creative solution to it. It doesn't have to be something as simple as a coat drive. It can be as complex as I sent letters. I know Tony is in the process of his capstone project currently, and it's just really about looking at these areas you can make a difference while also learning a lot about your leadership, how you best serve, and representing FBLA.
And Abel, what was your capstone about?
Oops, sorry. So I've had two BAA capstones that I've been lucky enough to compete with. One of them was sending out greeting cards and inspirational messages to address mental health in our community. And the last one was an item drive to help with some underfunded areas of Children's Hospital Colorado and to really help find representation through all of that. It's been so great to see our community get involved and really just the community that FBLA serves. So we had people who had been FBLA members donating and sponsoring and just really connecting with people from all across the state and the nation.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Annabelle. So we've been talking a lot about having community service projects and events within your chapter, but we haven't really dive into how to actually do them. So we're going to take you through a step-by-step on how to actually go through with your community service project plan that can help out your chapter. So step 1 and step 2 are kind of go together, but you're first going to determine the needs within your community. You can either talk to people within your community or just simply do some research. And then with that idea, you're going to brainstorm what you could do to actually solve the issue. So for example, if you're in a very low income community where maybe people don't have access to Thanksgiving or Christmas foods, you could do a food drive. And then after that, you would create a timetable and plan the project you are well prepared throughout the year or throughout the duration of your project. So using the food drive example, if you were going to do it around Christmas time, you would kind of plan to host the drive through the month of November and midway through December, and then make a plan for when you're going to collect and actually go through with donating. And then step 4 is just carrying out the project. So that would be continuously keeping up with collecting the food and keeping count. And then step 5 is just congratulating your members and celebrating that you have accomplished such a big thing for your community, and just be really proud of the amazing project that you guys created. So before we move on to our guest speaker, I just want to let any members know who recently joined the meeting to make sure you rename yourselves with your first and last name because we will be doing a drawing for gift cards. But it's my pleasure to announce our guest speaker for tonight. You guys might recognize him as last year's Vice President of Education. So we're really excited to have him here tonight. He now serves as our National Treasurer. So Gabe, if you want to maybe introduce yourself a little more and then give us a brief introduction of your role as National Treasurer.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to be joining all of you tonight. My name is Gabriel, and I was the VP of Education last year. Now in my treasurer position at the national level, I've been having a lot of fun, but just to give you a few details, one of the things that I do is I'm the key collaborator on all of our partners and our programs at the national level, whether that be Alzheimer's Association, Lead for Change, Stock Market Game, all those different activities your chapter might be participating in. And so I'm in these meetings with potential companies. We've been talking with airlines. We've been talking with restaurants, food companies. We're trying to get you guys more opportunities overall, and that's my big role at the national level. Also PR, and I'll be involved at the National Fall Leadership Conference in a couple days.
Thank you, Gabe. So do you want to just kind of share with us your personal experience with community service or just anything you want to talk about in that sense?
Yeah, let me focus a little bit on the chapter level since that's what you guys are, you guys are chapter members, chapter officers. And so one of the things that I did in my freshman and sophomore years, and FBLA was my chapter. We went downtown and we gave out to the homeless. And one of the other things that we did is that we read to second graders and we picked up trash in our parking lots. We went down to the VA and we gave them masks that were custom made, and that were military themed. And so the point there being that you can do so many different things with community service and fundraising within your local chapter. It should be really flexible based on your community needs, which is what Josie was talking about a second ago. But I do think that the reading to second graders for me, we came in every couple weeks. We met with them one-on-one. We did big reads. We met with local authors. We read their books to the kids, and that was really impactful. It was really moving for me, not only in a sentimental sense, but I learned a lot through that process as well.
It's amazing. So we're just going to kind of open the floor up for members. If you guys want to ask any kind of question, Gabe's here to answer. So if you guys want to type it in or just unmute your mic and go ahead and ask, this is a great time to do that.
Hi, so my school, like we really struggle with, because we're kind of like a super small chapter, we really struggle with like the team aspect of everything.
Yeah.
So like, do you guys have any service project ideas that would kind of get us more involved and more working as a chapter rather than individual?
Yeah. Just to answer that question really quick, I think one of the things I'm always going to promote the Alzheimer's Association. We've been working with them so far this year. This is our first year with them actually, and we've raised almost $25,000 so far nationally. We have a goal of 100K. So I'm going to promote that, obviously. And then a couple of the means, I don't know what your community looks like, but as far as how you can start working as a team again, I think one of the things that you need to be looking at is chapter-based events. We have a national community service project competitive event. We have our champion chapter. So if you don't have that program of work established, that's really important. So that document kind of outlines, everything you're gonna be doing through the year. And by doing that, by delegating that responsibility and having a better outlook, you can start looking at the responsibilities related to those community service projects. While I'm on community service projects as a whole, and as you guys as chapter officers start outlining the work that you're going to be doing this year, I want to add a little bit onto what Josie was saying earlier on how you can actually move through at the very start and at the very end. And so one of the things that we do in my local level, and I encourage everyone to do nationally, is we let our parents, the teachers, everyone in our high school community know about the community service project before the day of. And we let them know our progress updates because it has them concerned about what's happening. And a lot of these people are putting in their money or their time. And by doing that, you gain, early support. You get that word of mouth, and you might get early donations. And then after that process, and when you're finishing up, it's important that you do two different things. One of the things is that you update your supporters on where their money, where their time went. That's fundamental because you're going to get return people and they're concerned, they gave their money that time. The other thing is that you're not going to be in your chapter forever. There's going to be people moving into your position, you're going to be moving the position of other people, and eventually you'll be going off to college and bigger and better things. And you really need to document the work you've done because community service projects are really repetitive. You tend to do them year over year, and you want to write down your lessons, everything you learned, and that way the people after you know how to run it.
One question I had is one thing like when I was a chapter officer that I struggled with, and I think maybe there are other people that struggle with here, is that getting members to engage in like these events. I know like this
Mhm.
is something that kind of went off the previous question, but how would you recommend we go about that? Because it can be really hard to get, especially high schoolers to contribute and to see the value of community service.
I think overall, you need to align your message with your members first and foremost. And then the next biggest step is once you kind of figure out what your community service project looks like, you need to build out the number of people you need for the number of hours on every single day that you need them. And then you need to create signups. You need to figure out how you're going to engage them. And that's based on how many people you have. And, if you're using a Google Classroom, if you're using some other sort of format like a Remind, or whether that's like more classroom based for you. But a lot of mistakes happen when you have too many people in a project or you try engaging too many people. And then there's a clutter and nobody feels like they can really rush into something, especially if it's more production based. And that goes for anything. That's just not just community service project. But if I need to make a banner, a design, or need to create like the marketing, the promotion for my community service project, and there's 6 of us on this team, on this little task force. Nothing's going to happen. And you're going to have people that feel inactive naturally because they have nowhere to be and you're overloading that one task. And so I would say if you have too many people, you have too many people not doing anything, then you can be doing more as a chapter overall. You can be doing different projects, you can be working on different FBLA partners, but if you have too many people just sitting around, then you have enough already. Hopefully that
How do I
made
do the community service stuff?
Well, that kind of depends. I don't know if you're a chapter officer. What kind of situation are you in? Are you trying to work on Alzheimer's or
I'm new.
okay, 100%. So the first thing I do is if you're a brand new member to your chapter, everything, go to your teacher, your advisor. If you know who your officers are, those are also the best key contact, your chapter president. Some chapters have a community service VP. And there's different positions. So I'm the treasurer, and at the national level, I work with the community service a lot. So if you have a treasurer, go to them, but really figure out what's going on at your local level first. And as you get more in the system, you might become an officer, and then you can have the more of you can start building those projects from scratch and learning from the people around you.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Any other questions?
What kind of community service project has been like the most impactful in your community and like maybe your chapter as well?
Well, it was definitely that reading to second graders. It's what we do. We do it every single year. Not so much with like the VA because that was COVID based overall. But we've been pivoting to the Alzheimer's Association, and it's been really impactful. I went to an Alzheimer's walk with Isabella, the D10 state officer, and that was really fun. But I've been learning that what really matters for a lot of our advisors and members is where the money's going. And 97% of the money goes to patients or research, and only 3% is administrative. We've been raising $25,000 nationally. We have the fun game board, and that's been a really impactful way of engaging the members because it's in a fun format overall. And then on top of that, 1 in 3 people are impacted by Alzheimer's, and so our community, no matter like the members coming in as freshmen, sophomore, juniors, seniors, they're all engaged, especially the teachers who may have known somebody who has Alzheimer's and the parents in our community as well. If there are no other questions, I want to say thank you guys for having me. And if you ever need to reach me, I'll put my social media and email in the chat. I appreciate this, guys. This is really fun. It's been a while since I've been in an MMM. So thank you.
Anybody have any last questions? Or Gabe, do you just kind of want to share how people can reach out to you if they think of a question?
Yeah, if you guys have any more, throw them my way. I'm going to type that in the chat, though, no matter what.
Well, thank you.
Gabe, I have a quick question.
Hit me with it.
So my chapter has been trying to find ways to get more involved with the Alzheimer's Association, but we're kind of a very spread out chapter, and like doing a walk or something like that would be difficult. Is there any other way that we could be more involved with it, since I know they are a national partner?
Yeah, so the first thing, I guess I should have said this earlier, that's my fault. I want everyone, if you haven't, to go to our FBLA website, go to the partner section, and go to the Alzheimer's part of our website. It might be a little confusing at first. Um, we're coming out with resources every day. You know, we're busy as a national, but as we're developing our partnership, we're working on custom resources that aren't just walk based. So expect to be seeing those in the next few weeks and like in next few months. I can just say as an FBLA association overall, but go on there, go check out the Alzheimer's National website, look at all that stuff, and you don't need to commit to a walk to be part of Alzheimer's. And this, you know, we have chapters nationally who are doing those bake sales, that fundraising. And the great thing is you're a spread out chapter. Alzheimer's is meant, if you, I don't know if you guys have ever done like a fun run in middle school, elementary school, but the point is that your members will create an individual account. And when they create an individual account, they can go to their grandparents, their parents, anyone in their community, and they can ask for $5, $10 towards Alzheimer's under their name. And you can start creating incentive programs with your local chapter. That kind of stuff is great. They're gonna have you, you'll have to sign up for a walk, but it can be for next year and it won't even matter. You know, they're not gonna track if you show up to that or not. The money goes to them no matter what. So the traditional fundraising community service applications still stand, but I love the Alzheimer's format because your members receive individual recognition and individual incentive. Alzheimer's sends in like t-shirts and a bunch of different like support wear also when you raise that money.
Awesome, thank you.
Of course.
I have a question for you, Gabe. What did you do for your BAA capstone?
For my capstone, I did something a little different, and I'm certified in Adobe and Microsoft Office, and this kind of show the flexibility of a capstone project. I went around and I taught kids in my local community. My high school has a 60%, somewhere like 70% graduation rate, and it used to be worse. And so what we did is we taught Microsoft and Adobe to a bunch of different students, especially because a lot of these people speak multiple languages in my community. We're 80% minority at my high school. And so that really helped with like at the home and family businesses and that kind of thing. What I've seen other people do, I've seen people do water filtration systems. I've seen people do childcare for like their community, and that was really cool stuff. So be flexible, and if you have questions on that, you can reach about that too.
Thanks, Gabe.
Does any other member have any question they want to ask Gabe?
I do have a question. Sorry. What is one way that you can figure out if a capstone is too large of a project? Like it's something that won't be doable at all?
Okay. Well, the first thing, and we talked about that with our just general community service projects, assign all the tasks. So I want you to number out everything. What is every single step? And our capstone project, I don't know if you're on the website, I don't know if you're trying to go through that yet, but they do have lessons based on how you go through everything. So take my word on what I say right now, and then, you know, go look at it a little deeper. They have all these different project templates for you to fill out. And so they kind of space it out and they help you go through that step-by-step process. But first and foremost, look at what is action one, what is action two, action three, how many people would I realistically need to get involved in this? And then can you get those people involved? Because the scale isn't necessarily, is this impossible? And of course, there are things that are impossible. But if you need 20 people, can you get 20 people? Then it's a project that works. I want you to consider your personal leadership skills. You mean you're going to be leading this in your own right. And if you think you can organize 20 people, go for it. But really associate the number of hours it'll take to finish. Like we had, I want to say it was 300 to 400 certifications through my capstone project in Adobe and Microsoft, and I had a team of 4 or 5 of us in total. And with all the different students we were managing, that was a lot. And so you have to think about the people. If you're doing more of like, think about just like a business, if you're giving a product compared to a service. Well, if you're a service, how many clients do you have? And these are really important things. You have to think about everything in a holistic perspective.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hopefully my answers make sense.
Do we have anything in the chat? Any questions? Okay. Well, like Abe said, he put his contact information in the chat, I believe. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out. But thank you, Gabe, for joining us. We really appreciate you sharing your journey and your experiences in community service.
No problem.
All right, guys. So what we're going to want you guys to do is take a look at these questions. So we have, what community service projects could you and your chapter benefit from? We have, how has community service impacted you in the past? And how do you think community service impacts others? So we want you guys to kind of discuss these questions and just kind of discuss whatever comes up and network a little, get to know one another in these breakout rooms. So it might take us a second to get sorted into them, but we'll be going ahead and doing that.
To make their way back in, but I think we are there. So just kind of wanted to check in and see like kind of what you guys talked about in your breakout rooms. We can start with like the first question about kind of what kind of community service projects your chapters are thinking about doing or what they could benefit from.
So I can share a couple of insights from ours. We talked a lot about what our chapters already do, and then also like the little ways that kind of present themselves, whether it's a DLC, whether it's just simply lending a hand in your community, how it kind of just takes a matter of looking for it and finding it.
Yeah, for sure. I know we definitely talked about that too. At Cherry Creek FBLA, I know we talked about kind of our business clothing drive that we're currently running, which is going to allow our FBLA, DECA, and FCCLA students have access to a wardrobe, so they have the opportunity to compete and take advantage of these CTSOs. So does anyone else want to kind of share what community service projects their chapters are kind of doing, already done, or thinking about for in the future?
I know in our room we talked about, someone said that their chapter was going to do a Cinderella drive where people that couldn't have access to dresses could get dresses. And we also talked about how you should reach out to state officers and officers in general if you need guidance on, starting a community service project so that you can start it without all the hassle and you know what to do.
Yeah, that's definitely a great community service idea. Yeah, wait.
Sorry, my chapter is done. So I mentioned this in our breakout room, but we do recipe books. So this last year we did like a dinner. So each member pitched in a recipe to include, and then this year we're gonna do like a dessert edition or like an appetizer edition. So we just make a new one every year to sell to our community members.
It's a really unique community service idea. I don't think I've ever heard anything like that. So let's kind of move on and kind of look into how community service has kind of impacted you guys in your everyday life.
For my experience, I talked about my breakout room that like I saw like through I was helping out with some like refugees stuff and volunteering. I was able to see like the raw emotion and just like actual impact that I was able to bring, because I feel like sometimes with volunteering it's kind of hard to see like that you're actually impacting someone, but like in that experience I really like was able to see that I was actually benefiting like someone or a group of people.
Yeah, for sure.
For
Anyone
me,
else want to share kind of? Yeah.
oh, yeah, I was just saying, like, I think I like met a lot of like-minded individuals where it's like where we're all just like working towards like the greater good. Like again, like with like YBL where we're like helping middle schoolers with like financial literacy. It's just like it's everyone there is like actually interested in business and learning and teaching, and we're all working towards like a common goal. So I feel like it just builds a sense of community within us.
Yeah, I think these community service projects let people kind of discover new things about themselves in addition to the impact that they're having on that specific community. Because like kind of like what you said with all those financial clubs, I think I've gained a passion for teaching out of starting those kinds of initiatives. So yeah, anyone else want to share, or we can move to the next question.
I think one thing that I like we said in our group, and I think is important for everyone, especially if you take these ideas back to your chapters, is that a lot of the times like teenagers and people our age, they tend to not be super interested in community service because it's like they can't see the impact directly that they're making. It's a lot of the times through a different organization or things like that. So they're not as like motivated, I'd say, to go and do it. But I think it's important to remember that it like even if you don't see the impact yourself, there's someone that you are helping, whether you see it or not. So it's important that if you guys highlight that to your chapters, that might help with increasing engagement. And yeah, just again, like you're always helping somebody whether you see it or not. So just contributing is super important.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think the last thing we're going to touch on is kind of how you think community service impacts others. So, what did you guys kind of talk about in your breakout rooms for that kind of?
I know one thing that we said quite a bit was that community service can help people who are dealing with diseases, anything like that, that we're supporting, can kind of just make them feel heard and seen, and that people are out there actively supporting them through whatever it is they're doing. I think it's really important that we find those needs in our community and go support them because it makes people feel important and like they have a reason to be fighting for a disease or even just through hardships in life.
Yeah, for sure. That kind of follows kind of with what we talked in our breakout room. We kind of talked about how community service provides opportunity to people. So whether that's in like food drives, book drives, it's all about providing opportunity for, a kind of demographic to, bring themselves up and, have these new abilities through your service that you're bringing to them. Does anyone else have any final thoughts, final conclusions before we kind of move on?
We talked a lot about letting communities know that you care, even if it's a direct community that's near you, like a nearby city, things like that.
Yeah, that's a great point as well. So I think that's going to wrap up our discussion on our breakout rooms. Thank you guys so much for participating and going into your breakout rooms and being social.
All right, guys. So next, to kind of start wrapping things up, we're going to go into our state of our state. And for those of you who might not know, state of our state is basically our executive state officers kind of explaining what they've been doing in their program of work. So these are just kind of initiatives that go ahead and like support Colorado FBLA because we want to keep improving our organization as we go along. So let's get started.
Yeah, so since our meeting's about service, a lot of things are going to overlap with our state of our state for our service part. Service Sundays, like we mentioned earlier, still there. You can go ahead and the submission link is in our link tree on Instagram or on the website. Now that especially we're going into November and December, these are the times when we do start to see a lot of community service things and events. So make sure you guys are submitting those so you guys can get recognition at state and get your peak awards. And then fundraising, like we mentioned, that fundraising toolkit is super helpful and we highly recommend you guys go and look at that. I know like we had a lot of people in this meeting that were from small like rural schools and also big schools as well, and that toolkit caters to both demographics. And then financial literacy awareness, Finance Fridays are still going on, and American Enterprise Day is coming up on the 15th. So you guys will be getting some more information about what that is. And then again, we finished our finance feud, which was super great. So leading into our next challenge, which is called Find Your Fund. It will be starting on November 11th, and we will get more information on our Instagram about that pretty soon. But basically, it's just creating a social media post of a fundraising event that you and your chapter did. Make sure to tag Colorado FBLA, and kind of like the best idea we will go ahead and showcase. And it can be fundraising for your chapter or community service events as well. So that will be our Financial Friday post of that week, which would be the November 25th.
Perfect. So education has had a pretty busy month. We're continuing with our alumni interviews, which is sharing the industry and former and current officer interviews. This time we had Gabe talking about school-based enterprises, and that's been a lot of fun to kind of connect and hear their insights. And then we're working to build those connections across the state to hopefully get you guys internships, partnerships, and more within your districts and your chapters. Colorado FBLA Today has also been up to date. The November newsletter is published, and new segments have been added, allowing you to really maximize your FBLA experience. We have everything from national updates to fun facts and everything you need to know about the given topic of the month. And then social media has been one of our big outlets with the help of Lauren, which is spotlighting our programs and events and making your dates and deadlines for our partner programs, turn-ins, registrations, all of that readily accessible for you and your chapter members.
Awesome. So moving on to progress, I'd love to start with talking about our career and technical student organization collaborations that we've been doing the past couple months. These have been exclusively on Instagram and Facebook. And this upcoming month, we will be posting with HOSA, but we posted with DECA just, I think, a week or two ago. So be sure to check that on out. And our main initiative behind these collaborations is to let you know how intertwined all of the CTSOs are and how our main message is preparing high school students for their careers and the real world. So hopefully these collaborations are giving you insights onto how other organizations reach this goal, but then also maybe encouraging you to join a chapter or start a chapter of a different CTSO as well. And then our member recognition has continued every month. And our member of the month for October has been posted within this past week. So make sure to check that out. And we wanted to kind of use this member recognition as a way to give you guys as Colorado FBLA members our thanks for putting such great work back into the organization, but then also kind of encourage your chapters to find incentives they can do locally to elect their member of the month. So make sure if you're a chapter officer or just a member, try and encourage your chapter to elect their own member of the month. And then that would make our statewide member of the month recognition a little bit more competitive. And then speaking of competition, recently I posted on our Instagram story a poll about what you guys want to hear about competitive events, since we're kind of turning into that competitive event season. So with those questions, we're going to be making some social media posts similarly to the Financial Friday ones, where we're trying to educate you guys and inspire you to look deeper into topics. So if you guys still have any more questions, you can contact me through email, and hopefully I can find ways to post these resources that are accessible to you.
And something to mention about member recognition is that we also have our monthly membership meeting standout for every meeting that we have. So make sure to keep an eye out to see if you were selected as this meeting's monthly membership meeting standout. So keep an eye out on our Instagram. But I believe we're starting to kind of...
Please turn on your cameras for the social media. I love to use pictures of our members. So for this one, if you guys could do 2 peace signs, and then your middle fingers will cross and it'll make an amazing little FBLA delta. And I'll take a picture of all of us. I still see a few cameras. Okay, I love it. I almost peer pressured everybody. Okay, smile. 1, 2, 3. Awkward to do a screenshot, but thank you guys for the picture, and I'll pass it back over to Yalen.
Thank you, Lauren. So thank you guys so much for attending tonight's meeting. I really hope you guys were able to take something from this, maybe learn something about community service, or just get some ideas that you might want to take back to your chapter. If you have a question about anything, you can reach out to any of us. Gabe, as the national officer, also left his information, but all of our information as state officers is found on the Colorado FBLA website, and most of us also have FBLA Instagram pages if you guys find that easier to reach out. But I'd say overall, we really hope to see you guys at our next monthly membership meeting, which won't be until January, on January 13th at the same time at 7 p.m., where we're going to be talking about district preparation, so planning for our district conferences. But for now, the November monthly membership meeting is adjourned. Have a great night, everybody.